Well, I learned a little bit about the vision a few months earlier when I was in Barcelona at another conference, and I was on a panel with the chief architect here of Barcelona. And he gave his presentation and I gave mine, and we looked at each other because we have a lot of a similar type of approach, which is more of an urban ecosystem approach. So I thought that was really exciting and hopeful when I saw that the thinking was really a systems approach to the city, which I don't find very often in some of these other types of processes. So I'm really hopeful that that could be the driver of what comes out of this process, because we also take an ecosystem approach to the city, and we're defining its systems and the components of its systems, and then setting measures for the health of those systems. So I think there's a lot of potential synergies between the work we've been doing all these years and the vision that we saw come from this process. Cities, it's a whole different animal, the internet and cities, but this idea of an open source platform to share information is critical. And I just brought this up in the working group, and that's one thing, and we work all over the world with different cities and community groups, neighborhood organizations. The lack of access to really good data is critical. It's not working right now. So if we're able to develop a protocol to share data and information across cities, then we'll be able to plug in the solutions a lot more easily than having to start over and try to figure out, from the very bottom up, what's happening with each place. If we're able to start to layer in that information, I think we can then really make a lot of faster progress on implementing solutions. We have a network of cities that have been working on this idea of eco-cities for years now. So if we are able to add to that more cities that are thinking through carefully what are the processes that make up these healthy cities, ecologically healthy cities, how can we develop standards and indicators, and then how can we share them broadly, knowing that each city is very different. So an ecologically healthy city in a warm climate or a large or small size will have a different strategy than a cold climate city. But there's essential elements that I think are part of this idea that I saw come from the vision, that the health of these systems are across the board similar. Like, we all need clean air. We need to measure that air quality. We all need water that we can drink. We need to preserve our ecosystems, because if we don't, then we won't survive, We have to address the issues of the environment in the context of cities and civilization. So if we collectively start to look at setting those benchmarks and standards and processes, we can start at kind of a high level, but then drill down into more complex, how do we have the perfect kind of LED, lighting system, and then share that with everybody. So I think it could, if it all fits together in a systems type of approach, it could have a logic then that holds up over time. Well, it's just the beginning, so I'll reserve my judgment, but I think it's really important that we start off by all coming together and meeting in a beautiful place like Barcelona and taking some time to get to know each other socially too. So far I think the working groups I like, because it was a nice balance of different representation, cities, NGOs and institutions, businesses. So I think this idea of this cross collaboration is working so far.